Hello everyone, this is Scott Dudley from Funnel Fella Radio, and today my special guest is Chris Dickey, who's based in Jackson, Wyoming, and he's the founder and CEO at Visably. Thanks for being on the show, Chris. You ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right, so let's sort of go back to the beginning and talk a little bit about your background and how you first got into marketing and search engine visibility in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in marketing pretty much my whole career. I've worked in-house, I've worked at agencies, I've worked in publishers. For the last 10 years, I've been running my own agency, a PR agency called Purple Orange. And during that time, I guess during the arc of my career, the last 17 years, everything has moved online. Right. Like before, I think if you look back to like 20 years ago, we still were fairly reliant on print and in-person stuff, but especially with the pandemic. But even before that, everything was moving digitally. What became incredibly apparent through my work at an agency was that the PR hits that had the most impact for our clients were the ones that were showing up at the top of search.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the publication's name or the writer or how long the article was. It had everything to do about the article's position in search. And so, as an agency, we really scratched our heads and said, how do we do more of that? And so we kind of developed some practice around it, and we started analyzing the SERP and doing these kind of very manual audits of who was showing up and for what keywords and so on and so forth. And we began to realize there was a complete lack of tools in the marketplace to recognize where brands existed beyond their own websites. There's great tools for SEO, there's great tools for advertising, but if there's something else out there, it was totally blank, right? And so a couple examples there. So PR is a great example. That's an obvious one. There's third parties are giving recommendations or reviewing a product or service, and it shows up in search. PR engines also, SEO engines all skip that stuff. You don't see it in their reporting. Another one is e-commerce, and so a lot of brands who are selling through major e-commerce sites, especially consumer packaged good brands, or it could be even a SaaS company that is showing up on another recommended kind of blog or something like that. Again, stuff that SEO platforms will completely miss and won't get. So I really wanted a tool that looked at the page content of every single link within the SERP and analyzed is the brand present there or not? And that's kind of where Visably came from. And so it was to solve my own problem at an agency, and it's grown from there.
Okay, that's awesome. I always like that sort of thing where you solve your own problem, and then from there you expand it out.
Then you stumble upon some other stuff. You're like, oh, we should do this too.
Yeah. Fair enough. So are you able to expand a little bit more on Visably and why it's the solution to scaling SEV strategy, which is search engine visibility?
Yeah, so SEV strategy is this idea that the customer journey can take all shapes, forms, and sizes, right? It doesn't have to begin on your website. It doesn't have to begin on an ad. It can also begin on somebody reading a review or a newspaper article or whatever it might be. So as long as those things are showing up in search, how do you improve your brand's visibility? So we call this SEV, or search engine visibility. And what it really comes down to is understanding the structural makeup of the search engine results page, and understanding this is a multi-channel playground. It's not just about SEO. It's not just about ads. There's also a lot of PR hits. There's a lot of e-commerce. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And how do you sync your teams to create very dominant brand visibility strategies in the search? And that's what we're trying to deliver.
Is it mainly Google that you're focusing on, or is there also other search engines as well? Or is it just primarily all Google?
It's primarily Google. We can do other search engines, but it's almost why. Some countries prefer other search engines.
Okay.
Google globally has around 92% market share for search, not just in the United States, everywhere. And the next largest search engine in the world is Bing, and they have around 2% the market share globally. And then it becomes more fractured from there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's, honestly, you're reaching the majority of the world's customers with just one platform.
Fair enough. Would DuckDuckGo come in number 3, or is that
No,
further down?
they're way down at the bottom.
Oh.
Like a splinter of 1%. It's like another platform called Baidu, which is Chinese. There's a Russian platform. I can't remember what it is right now. Yahoo is in there with like 1%. It just gets really splintered.
Okay, interesting, cool. All right, so including yourself, how many team members do you have on your team?
We're about 10. It's very heavy in the engineering right now, where there's only 2 people kind of managing marketing, and the rest of it's all engineering.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So who would be the ideal customer niche or target market for Visably? I would imagine it would be e-commerce sort of businesses selling physical products, or is that not true?
It's interesting. We've had a lot of companies come to us, a lot of agencies come to us, a lot of companies. I think originally we were planning this to be a platform that was really powerful with consumer packaged goods, and especially stuff where you're going to do some level of research before you buy it online. So not like a bowl, not like rice or something, but like a new pair of skis.
Yep.
And so for that, that's where you see a ton of third-party conversations happening around a brand. And that's what we're trying to harness. But we've also seen companies show up within medical devices. And we've seen companies show up that that just want to measure their brand visibility in search, irregardless of the fact that they already have a powerful SEO platform. But the SEO is actually not measuring the likelihood of discovery. It's just telling you where you exist within the SERP. It doesn't tell you click-through rates and things like that. So I think we're delivering a little bit deeper of an analysis that really helps with reporting and really helps brand managers rationalize strategies to their team.
And there's not really any other tool like this, is there? It's unique in that respect.
Yeah, shockingly, no. It took me a long time to come to that realization. As an agency guy and knowing how sophisticated marketing is, I was like, somebody's got to be doing this, right? Like somebody's got to. Like I had a very simple question, and the question was, where does a brand exist in the first page of search results? Can you tell me all the places? I just want to understand the footprint on this page.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's no platform that does that. It's so weird. You can identify where your website exists. You can show where your ads exist. But if you just want to understand how customers are interacting with your brand in search, there is no platform dealing with that question.
Excellent. Okay. So seeing as you were also previously an agency, do you also offer SEV services as well, or are you just purely focusing on like your software side of it?
Yeah, so I do operate an agency. I own the agency, but I've more or less handed it over to the employees at this point. We have a fantastic group of employees. The agency is over 10 years old. I handle a bunch of clients internationally. In fact, a couple in Australia, like I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
The strategy there is that the software solution, different company, entirely different, customer. The agency is something that exists on the side at the moment and is a self-sustaining thing, and it does offer SEV services. What I'm hoping is to just open the book and tell everyone what we're doing. There's no secret.
Yeah.
We want everyone to do it. We want everyone to be deploying these for their clients. There's a lot of best practice here, and come to Visably and we'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, fair enough. So obviously the agency would be using the software as well. I mean, that's a given, isn't it?
Yeah, the agency uses the software. We use the agency as a guinea pig, and it's a great way to kind of And so we actually put it into work, and we put it into practice, and we use the reporting for our own clients. We see what our clients like and what resonates, and we also work out the kinks ourselves. In real practice, we're not developing this in a separate laboratory somewhere. This is all happening in the real world.
Excellent, love it. Okay, all right. So tell us about one of your most impressive customer stories or testimonials from using Visably without actually naming who the customer is.
Yeah, happy to do that. So we work with, like I said, we've been doing this for all of our clients. One in particular that comes to mind is a client that was launching into a totally new consumer products category. They've been very dominant in one space, and they wanted to reach into a new space, a space where the customer wasn't as familiar with the brand, a space where they had no market share, and they wanted to come out with a very premium product. And so what we did, and this is effectively the basis of what search engine visibility strategy is we identify what are all of the non-branded keywords with any appreciable search volume, and we identify those keywords. And so in this particular case, it was travel packs and luggage and things like that. And so we looked up, I don't know, 100 or so keywords that are related to non-branded travel accessories. So if someone's looking for, say, best luggage or best travel backpack or toiletry kit or something like that. And those results are what we wanted to build visibility within. Now, because this company was brand new to the space, they really had no chance of getting their own website ranking on these very highly competitive pages. However, with our PR tool set, we could go through, audit all these results. Now, if you're looking at 100 different keywords, that's 1,000 results, right?
Yeah.
And those are all first pages, all have a lot of traffic on them, and they all have really qualified customers going there to figure out what the heck they want to buy. And so there you go. There's your media list. There are the most relevant outlets in the world that are writing about this particular subject. Here are the best writers and authors that at least Google thinks are the best writers and authors. And now we put them into a list. And now we're going to go and we're going to reach out to those people as a PR agency and say, hey, there's a new player in town. There's a new kid, there's a new kid on the block. Why don't you try out their stuff? And we did that successfully. And I can tell you, within 3 to 6 months, we were dominant on those pages. There's nowhere you could click on that first page of search results that you wouldn't find this product or brand. And so it was a very quick way to dominate a search engine landscape and get into a new category that you had no previous experience in, and start to influence direct-to-consumer sales via the web.
Okay, it's pretty exciting. And the business owner would have been pretty wrapped with that too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. If you can dominate search, you will fill your funnel all day long.
Yeah.
And what's lovely about search is that there's nowhere else in the world where you can get in front of the most qualified possible customer, right? Because somebody who's typing in best travel backpack, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
That is somebody who's pretty far down the funnel. They already know what they want.
Yes.
But they're brand agnostic. And that is the perfect customer to get in front of. And sure, you can buy your way onto the SERP, but the click-through rates for an ad are at best 2% for those pages, which means 90%, 98% of the traffic is going somewhere else, and most of it's going into the organic results. So again, building strategies to get into those organic results is well worth your time.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I know that whenever I do a search, it's very rare that I'll click on the ads. I'll always go to the organic results because I know that they've earned the position. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, that first organic result receives a lion's share of traffic. It's upwards of 30% of all the traffic for the entire keyword is that very first result. The first 5 results on the page receive upwards of 70 to 80% of all the traffic for that keyword. And by the time you're at the bottom of the first page, that's around 1 to 2% of the traffic. So it just drops off, and there's really no traffic to speak of on the second page of search. So you have very limited real estate to create visibility.
Yes.
And I think that's what marketers have to grapple with here, because, hey, I'm not saying SEO isn't a viable strategy. It is, especially if you have a huge website and you have a lot of resources to throw at it, because then you can control the experience on your own website. You're not relying on a third party to do it. But for these really competitive keywords, sometimes Google has decided, something that we haven't talked about here is this idea of search engine intent. And what Google has to do, or what Google does to return the best results and keep you coming back to the platform, is it makes a determination on what is the reason why you're typing in this keyword. Do you want to go somewhere? Are you trying to go to a store? Are you trying to find something? Are you trying to go to a specific website? Are you trying to buy something? Are you here because you're trying to make a purchase? Are you trying to learn about something? And all of this kind of natural language processing is called search engine intent, and it changes the results that you see on a page. And you've seen this if you've ever done a bunch of different searches. Some results will be all e-commerce sites. Right? It's like every single result on the page is like an e-commerce site. That's Google deciding this is a transactional keyword. We think that you want to buy something when you type in this keyword, or you click on a result, or you search, or you type in a keyword and you get a bunch of like what I call click to learn. And this is when it's telling you, it's giving you information. It's not trying to sell you anything. And that's what I call an informational intent or informational keyword.
Yep.
Understanding how Google populates that stuff really informs the strategy behind the keyword and how you build visibility there. Because some keywords are total e-commerce plays, and it's all about merchandising on those platforms. And that's the way you're going to build visibility within the SERP. The other keywords are all about PR, and other keywords are even still all about SEO. And really it's all like company owned blogs or things. And so, I think looking more deeply at what Google is rewarding is really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes total sense. Okay, so what are your favorite online tools and platforms that you use to run your business?
Yeah, there's a bunch. We started working with a standard SEO platform called Moz years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. I don't think it's the best out there. I just haven't moved off it yet.
Yeah.
I think that Ahrefs is doing a great job right now. In the SEO space. There's a free tool that I would recommend people check out called Keywords Everywhere. And it's a Chrome plugin. And when you upload it onto your Chrome browser, what it does is it populates search volumes and traffic metrics and like recommended keywords in real time as you search, which is just really fun, especially if you're like a geek like me and you love all this, all these metrics. And it just gets your mind thinking in new ways, especially if you're somebody who, because when you think about keywords is really a reverse engineer of a customer journey, right? What are the things that people type in to solve their problems in life? And you can guess at it, but having these tools that kind of populate other ideas really get the juices flowing, and I think can be really helpful.
Absolutely. Is that a free extension?
It is, yeah. I think there's a paid version, but the basic one is free. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so what are some of the biggest and most common mistakes that you see online businesses making?
Oh man, where to start? I think I'll just talk about SEO just for a quick second because that's what we're talking about today. I think it's really important for brand managers, brand marketers to realize that. Well, I think SEO is a really important strategy. Unless you're on the first page and really the top of the first page, it doesn't matter. And so, going from page 17 to page 3 will have zero impact on your business.
Okay.
And so, I think sometimes like there's this feeling in the SEO industry to show this like rocket momentum, like, oh, like we've taken you so far, we've jumped up all these positions. I'm like, still, that has a big fat zero in terms of traffic. So
that's the bottom line. Yeah,
I know it is.
Yeah.
It is the bottom line. And so I would just be wary about any strategy that shoots for less than a first page position.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I'll leave that.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So what are you curious about or researching right now regarding digital marketing?
There's so much interesting stuff happening. I think one of the bigger things is people are getting rid of cookies right now, and they, Google is in Chrome, I think, are dropping cookies. So the idea of like tracking the customer journey from a marketing perspective has always been really, really critical, and that's going to be more challenging in the future. And that gets into another question that I constantly ask myself, and the reason why I got fascinated by the idea of Visably is attribution. And how do we as marketers, we do a thing to try to get people to show up on our site or sell more product, and how do you know it actually moved the needle, right? I think there's a lot of good common sense saying, as long as the tide is rising, I'm okay spending money and not knowing where it goes. But that's also a dangerous thing to get into, because you could be spending a lot of money on marketing efforts that are really producing no benefit or no value to the company. And then you're spending only 1/10 of your budget on something that's driving a ton of value to the company. And because you see the tide rising, you just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think marketers have to really dig into, if you're going to do this one activation or spend money in this one place, you need to be able to tie it back to some kind of KPI or performance metric. And that's kind of what I'm very fascinated in, because I think we need to do a better job of that. And hopefully, I think the tools are moving in that direction.
Yeah, that's always something that I've been confused with, the attribution. I mean, you've got the last click and then the first click as well, and working out which one is the more important one, and then spreading the attribution over different. I mean, there's all different combinations that you can use, isn't there? Really.
Well, yeah, and the customer journey is so nonlinear, right? And you realize there's so many potential touch points, and that's why we have multi-channel marketing, because we realize that you need to hit customers from all sides before they actually take a position, and maybe make a buying decision. And then it's a totally different story once they're in the funnel, once they've gotten through the funnel. But yeah, it's always filling with new people it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, who are your marketing idols or the biggest influences on your career?
Oh man, I have to say, like, probably the School of Hard Knocks for me. Making lots of mistakes and learning from them. So I realize it doesn't really say one person, but I think, like, honestly, like, I just have thrown a lot of spaghetti against the wall and seen what sticks and what doesn't. In terms of one person, I really have to say, the guy who founded Moz, this guy Rand Fishkin, he's no longer involved in the SEO industry, but he did such a fantastic job, I think, boiling down some very complex subjects and making them very digestible for the entry-level marketer through videos and through blogs and things. It's a real skill to take very complex subjects and make them very digestible, and he did a great job of that.
That's true, and he's been around for like 20 years or something, hasn't he? He's been around forever.
He has, although he's not that old. I think him and I are about the same age. And I think he's 39. But okay. He's just a very colorful, charismatic guy, does a great job in front of the camera. Doesn't do a lot of ums and ahs. He also could have been a very good newscaster or something,
Yeah, I agree. I've watched a few of his videos and he's pretty slick. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's just good at it. He's fun to watch.
Yeah. All right, so just to wrap up, where can people go to find out more about Visably?
Well, Visably is good. The good news is that it's absolutely free. It's in beta, open beta. We're releasing a pro version in early 2021, so we're really excited about that. Okay. But we are at Visably. It's not visibly like the word; it's visibly like the phonics spelling with an A.
Okay, excellent. All right, cool. Thanks a lot for sharing all those insights, Chris. That was awesome. Thanks for your time.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It was fun to be on the show.
You're welcome. Take care. See you later.